Movements for change need momentum to fuel them. The Me Too movement grew in prominence in 2017 when Donald Trump was busy installing his Diet Coke button in the White House, and reports of Harvey Weinstein doing his thing into potted plants were being splattered across the front pages. Oh, no, that is a poor word choice. For a few moments, it felt like when women chose to come forward with stories of assault, people were finally listening, and not just listening, but like caring, litigating, believing even. Can you imagine? Women could have a little justice as a treat. Me Too became a rallying cry. There were marches and original songs, and of course, all of those gorgeous lapel pins worn at the Oscars. People were re-embracing the word feminist, while the rest of us were left to question why they'd ever truly abandoned the word at all. And then in 2020, Harvey Weinstein moved into jail as you-know-who moved out of the White House. Was this movement unstoppable? Well, as we've seen time and time again, people got tired of issues championed by women. They recategorized them as just women's issues, as if these issues don't affect absolutely everyone. People who had at one time been fathers of daughters and sons of mother and brothers of sisters started to just be regular old dudes again. And now here we are in 2024, and Harvey Weinstein's 2020 conviction has been overturned, and Donald Trump is not only circling the White House, but explicitly telling us what he will do to women if and when he returns. And all of a sudden, it is feeling not that jazzy to be a woman again. This is Choice Words. I am Samantha Bee, and my feminism is not a choice. It's just who I am. Sometimes it's full of joy. Other times it feels really heavy. But it is May. Time to rear my head out of my cozy winter turtlenecks. As we have been for the last eternity, we are in the middle of one of the most important elections of our lifetime, but still, it is important to preserve moments of joy so that we can replenish our momentum to fuel our movements of change. And joy is exactly what today's episode is about. My guest today is the incredible actor and author, David Duchovny. You know David from shows like The X-Files and Californication, and I first got to know David while at Full Frontal, where he was always ready to lend his time to our very silly ideas. He is incredibly thoughtful, and talking to him was exactly what I needed today. Additionally, his new podcast, Fail Better, is also out now on Lemonada. In fact, a taste of Fail Better will drop on this feed next week, so come back for that. Until then, take a listen and make good choices. Hi.
Hi. Long time.
I know. It's so nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. You know. I want to tell you. We had lunch a number of years ago, and do you remember we met Steve Martin? I don't know what
Yes.
because you left early. Well, you didn't leave early. You left, as a normal person would, and I think I just stayed behind. And I don't know if I ever told you, but Steve Martin was like, Samantha.
What?
He was.
Oh, I'm just
He really wants to know you.
I just had a minor heart attack.
Exactly. I thought I wanted to let you know.
Well, thank you so much.
He did not want to talk to me at all about anything. He just wanted to know that I knew Samantha Bee.
What in the heavenly stars? I have to cut this piece out of whatever we put out because I can't handle it. Compliments make me sweat, and that's because I'm Canadian.
Yeah. Is it the Canadian thing?
I think it is. You're not allowed to accept them.
Well, because as soon as you accept a compliment, you will be destroyed. The tall poppy
100%.
Syndrome.
It's tall poppy syndrome. You can't ever do it. When you are Canadian and you buy something and someone goes, I love your check blazer. You have to go, I got it for $4. I just want to let you know. I picked it up off the floor by a garbage bin and I washed it. I was coming here today to my little setup, and I was thinking about you, and I was thinking, you know what is so funny, and I think that you will like what I'm about to say,
Okay.
is that even though you're a very famous actor, I primarily think of you as a writer. Does that feel? I
I
was
like
like,
that.
I thought so, because I just feel like I've read all your books,
Yeah.
and
Well, I
they've been in my
foisted them on you,
life.
and
Yeah,
you
but
were,
they're
and you were.
great. You're a great
Thank
writer.
you. And you were
And
nice enough to blurb Truly Like Lightning for me, which
yeah,
was wonderful.
well, it was a
Thank you.
joy. Anyway, that's just a nugget. That's just a
I
nugget.
probably think of myself that way. I mean,
I
that
wondered.
would have been. My dad was a writer. I don't know if you know
Mhm.
that he published his first novel when he was 75.
I did know that. He was
hot, hot,
75.
hot young writer, and then he died. And then he died at 76.
My God. It
But
was
he
like,
got it out there. He
I
got
checked
it
that
out there.
box. I had to
It
do it.
was. It
Now it's
was.
fine.
He gave new meaning to checking the box. Yeah, he did. And he was, yeah. I mean, it was like part of my family's lore because when my parents split up, the story that we were told, the story that my father was telling was that he had these three young kids in a small apartment in New York. I grew up on 11th Street and 2nd Avenue, and I guess a 3-bedroom, 3 kids, 2 adults, And my father said, I don't have any piece to write. I'm going to, and how New York is this? How early 70s is this? He got himself a room at the Chelsea Hotel, and he was going to live there for like 3 or 4 months.
Right.
And if he came up with his novel and he had it, then that would be something. But he couldn't do it with screaming me and screaming my sister and my brother, whatever the
Right.
fuck he was doing. And but it was a lie, unfortunately, because he was actually leaving for someone else, which he said finally, as he came back for his last suitcase. He said, "I'm going elsewhere."
He was like,
And so,
actually, the whole part about finding myself was kind of made up. Like, I'm going to find myself, but like
well,
with someone else.
so that when he published his novel at 75, we were all like, "Oh, okay, you did it." It was more than 3 or 4 months, but she did it. And I love my dad. He was such a gentle, funny guy. And to tell that story makes him seem like an asshole, which I'm sure there was a bit of an asshole move there, but so difficult to do under any circumstances. Who knows how to do it right? But I just want to end that story with saying, I love him, and
Yes.
he was a beautiful man.
We're all just a box of crayons. Just, I don't know what I mean by that. We're just all many shades of our personalities, like across the board. Nobody's. I read this article recently. We are going to talk about the substance of my podcast. We definitely are. But I was like reading about some person who's like very famous for dispensing advice in life.
Yeah.
And it's like so controversial because they just like have a super fucked up personal life. And I was like, you know what? I don't know why people have to have heroes. Like, people can't be all things. They can't be all the things you want them to be. And if you put too many eggs in the basket of someone else's personality, you're just going to be disappointed every time. It's like, don't have heroes. What for?
That's mature and very Canadian of you. I don't think it's very American. Americans like their heroes, I think. I don't know. I wish that they didn't as well, but I think that, a character that I'm always fascinated by in whatever I'm doing, I always seem to come back to the same kind of an archetype, which is like the bad priest. He's a great priest, but he's a bad man.
Right.
And that contradiction, and that we see over and over in life, where people who are flawed are really able to help other people, and it could be because they are flawed, and we can't have, the hero. The hero has nothing for us. He can tell us nothing.
You don't have to be magical in your life. Like, you can't have No one has everything together all the time. No one has ever been all things to all people. It is literally like Mother Teresa was a flawed human being. Like what are we doing?
And kind of into like PR. I think Mother Teresa was kind of into PR. You know, she liked her image, and she
did.
kept it. Yeah,
She was fierce about it.
so good for her.
The original flawed person.
She was the original like PR. You know,
Just
Mother
a
Teresa and
nightmare.
company.
She was a nightmare in the Hamptons.
Have you seen Mother Teresa's rider?
She makes us take all the color off the M&Ms. Just a big blank bowl of white M&Ms. It takes us all day to scrub them.
That's right. We're going to hell. To hell.
Okay. So,
go ahead.
my podcast is about choice. And I feel like we've already talked about some quality choices.
Lay it on me.
Are you good at making decisions? Are you bad at it?
Terrible.
Are you? You dither forever?
No, I simply make a choice that has nothing to do with my feelings or research.
Oh my God.
Because
what do you mean?
Because I read when I was in high school, I was studying the existentialists.
Okay.
You know?
Sure.
I went to collegiate, which you might know, in your neighborhood there.
Which is now just
Used
condos.
to be in the neighborhood. Yeah, I know. Well, they kicked him out of the school, and I had to move. So sad.
I know.
So sad. And studied Kierkegaard. And Kierkegaard had this, I'll never forget it. He said, the moment of decision is madness.
Oh.
And I've always felt like, absolutely, like, here comes the waiter. I've got my menu. Oh, fuck me. I don't know.
Right.
I'll just have that. Do you really want that? I don't know. I don't know if I really want it. So I guess I go with my gut. I guess maybe a positive spin on that would be I'm just kind of instinctually getting my way through life. But generally, I just do things like if you're talking about choices of like acting roles and things like that, I generally just do what comes my way. If I'm free or whatever, I generally think I don't have the wherewithal to figure out whether this thing is going to be great or not. Because that never really pans out in my life. It's always like I'm always surprised at what turns out good and what turns out bad. So if there's something calling to me, it could be anything. It could be something shitty as money or whatever. But if there's something calling to me, then I'll just make a decision. It doesn't have to be all the things.
You just do it. So are you a perpetual, I have to go back to a restaurant menu right now. Are you a perpetual bad orderer? I think that's funny. When people are just like, I always get the wrong thing because I just impulsively go, sweetbreads. I don't know.
Sweetbreads. No, because if we want to stick with the restaurant thing, I'm a pretty what's the word? Boring eater. I'm not really into food. People look at me like I'm a pervert when I say that. Like
what?
Yeah, exactly. Like what's wrong with your humanity? I think, I don't know, it's just food. Food has always been fuel to me, I think, and that's it, really. So even if I made a bad order, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, yeah, fine, I'll eat that. I'll eat that shit.
This is just grain. These are grains.
I'm just at the pump. I'm just at the pump right now.
Just strap on the food bag. I don't care. Is it oats?
I am.
I don't know.
I'm like a horse.
It all tastes medium.
Or a pig. Just shovel it in here if nobody minds.
Eat the scraps. I'll just eat the rinds.
I will eat the scraps.
I'll just eat the corn cobs without the kernels.
My girlfriend is so, she's always making fun of me because I will not heat anything up. Like, I will eat the spaghetti in the shape of a rectangle because that's the Tupperware that was in, and it kind of.
You know what? She's right to make fun of you. She's not wrong. That's pretty funny.
I remember when I was a kid, we'd get Chinese takeout from Jade Mountain on 12th Street and 2nd Avenue. I'm not giving a plug because I can't be there anymore. I'd just be totally surprised if they were. But Jade Mountain, that was our we could eat out. And we get the sweet and sour pork. And the day after, it had been in that takeout, and you'd turn it over, and it would come out, still have the shape of the container. I would eat that. I would eat that. I would eat the shape of the container, the orange.
I just get a fork and knife, and I start with a corner piece.
I just make, I make do, and it starts to melt, ultimately as I'm eating it, which is okay.
It's the congeal just releases a little bit, and then you're like, oh, now it looks like, doesn't matter. It's just going down the hatch. You're like, down the hatch.
It's all going in the same place.
See you in 3 minutes.
My stomach doesn't care if it's heated up or not. It just says, give me fuel.
Want to listen to the rest of this episode? Head over to your favorite podcast player to hear the entire show. I highly recommend it.